Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be discussing cyclohexane configurations, particularly in relation to their 3D shape, rather than just drawing a ring, as shown here. Given the tetrahedral carbons in a ring, a cyclohexane can form two conformations. So the first of those is a chair conformation, and the second is going to be a boat conformation. I added images of how each are typically drawn, and right now I'm just outlining both sides of the ring that are shown above and how they are reflected in each conformation. As you can see in the chair conformation, one end of the ring is pointing up while the other is pointing down, while in the boat conformation, both ends of the ring are lifted up. When we start to draw in the hydrogens attached to each carbon, we notice something particularly about the boat conformation. So as outlined, two of the hydrogens are pointed towards each other, and those two hydrogens experience steric interactions, making the boat conformation higher in energy and less stable. For this reason, the rest of the video will focus only on the chair conformation. To start looking at the chair conformation, I'm going to add all of the hydrogens to the model. As shown, there are two different ways that hydrogens or other molecules can attach to each individual carbon. The hydrogens drawn in green are axial hydrogens. You can tell because they point straight up and down in the drawing. And the hydrogens drawn in pink are called equatorial hydrogens, and they sort of point outwards. Now briefly, before we discuss the significance of axial and equatorial conformations, we are going to talk about ring flips. As shown in the picture, ring conformations will flip, meaning that they switch directions in a sense. Each conformation reflects the other, as shown in the drawing. With chair conformations, you can imagine that the carbon that was previously pointing up flips down, and the carbon that was previously pointing down will flip up. When filling in the hydrogen on each model, you may begin to notice a pattern. During a ring flip, axial molecules become equatorial, and equatorial molecules will become axial. This is important because molecules will tend to favor one conformation or the other. The first step in any chair flip is to label each carbon on your first molecule. Now just imagine that first labeled carbon is flipped down. You can find it pointing down in your second molecule, and then just continue to label around that second cyclohexane in the same order as the first, going around the molecule. Then fill in the methyl group. In this case, it's going from an axial position to an equatorial position, and complete the drawing by adding all of your hydrogens. This is just one example. Now, as I finish labeling, notice the methyl group attached at the first carbon in each of these molecules. I will circle them in both conformations. In particular, notice that in the first conformation, there are diaxial interactions between the methyl group and an adjacent hydrogen. This interaction is not present when the methyl group is in the equatorial position, as shown in the second conformation. This makes the second conformation lower in energy and more stable. This is reflected by the equilibrium position in which the molecule is found. This leads to our next point, equilibrium position. The molecule we just looked at, drawn in the middle here, favors products 95% to 5%. But what about the other molecules shown? It turns out that the first drawings, with fluorine attached, favor products 60% to 40%, while the third drawings have a ratio of 99.9% to just 0.1%. Here we learn that equilibrium position is based on size in terms of molecular weight. We previously showed why equatorial positions are more stable due to a decrease in interactions between the electron densities of attached molecules. But further, size determines equilibrium positions of these given molecules.